It's been 3 days since I lost contact with my husband. Although he had said he wouldn't be able to reply for a while, my concern has been gradually mounting. Just when I began thinking about consulting with the police, I received a phone call from one of his subordinates. "Boss, your husband passed away in an accident." What? Why? I don't know why the caller was her, but that's not the issue now. As soon as I hung up the phone, I rushed to the hospital at full speed. What awaited me there was my husband, unrecognizable. My name is Catherine, 28 years old. While working for an IT company, I live with my husband, whom I married 2 years ago. It's just the two of us now, but we're thinking of having children someday. My husband is Michael. He is a diligent worker, 2 years older than me at 30. Apparently, his promotion is coming up in a conversation recently. The day he found out, he came rushing back home and ran excitedly towards me. "Hey, Catherine, actually, there's a talk about me taking a position." "Really? That's great, congratulations." "Thanks, we've been through a lot, but I'm glad I kept pushing forward." "You've been working a lot on your days off too. It's great that your efforts paid off." My workaholic husband would often dedicate his days off to work. It was not uncommon for him to come home just before midnight due to overtime. I was worried about his busyness, but his hard work was finally recognized. Seeing my husband happy, I felt happy too. I thought to myself, I need to work harder too. The change in Michael started after he heard the news about the promotion. He became even more consumed with work, and his homecoming time turned into the wee hours of the night. Last month, he started going to the office even on Saturdays, and the number of his work days increased. At the same time, I feel like he started showing a colder attitude towards me. Recently, we haven't been going out together on our days off. This way, my discomfort grew day by day. Despite being so busy, my husband doesn't show any signs how tired he is. I couldn't help but worry, so I decided to ask my husband casually. As usual, I waited for him to come home from overtime and broached the topic. "Michael, can we talk for a minute?" "What is it? I'm tired and want to go to bed early." "You've been short on sleep lately. You're always on your phone until you go to bed, despite coming home late. I think what I do when I get home is my business." "That's true, but is work really that busy?" At my question, his face stiffened for a moment. Not missing that change, I immediately asked the next question. "I understand the promotion would make you busier, but even the amount of work on your days off is too much. Isn't it strange for a company to work you that much?" "Hey, it's not like I want to be busy. I have no choice." "Even so, you are working too much, no matter how you look at it." "Stop running into me when I'm tired and just got home. There's no way you could understand how busy I am." With that, Michael left the living room. Even after that, I spent my days with troubled thoughts. Then one day, I usually commute by car, but on the way home, I got into an accident. I was rear-ended and taken to the hospital by ambulance. My body was covered in bruises. Out of caution, I was hospitalized for a few days and decided to undergo several tests. So I called my husband to bring me some changes of clothes. But he didn't answer the phone, and he didn't reply to my messages either. I wondered why, since it was well past his usual work hours. Even when he's working overtime, he should be able to at least text. An hour later, he finally answered my call. I tried to explain the situation, but as soon as he answered the phone, he let out a big sigh. "You should have figured it out when I didn't answer the phone. You kept calling me during my overtime." I know I should apologize for that, but that wasn't the issue. What's wrong? "I had an accident. I'm apparently not in a very serious condition, but I'll be hospitalized just in case." "Huh? Really? You've put me in a difficult situation." I wasn't expecting his words at all and involuntarily said, "What?" Unable to hide my surprise, he spat out more heartless words. Your accident is a nuisance during my crucial period. I'm not going to pay for the car repairs. I understand. The reason I called was because I wanted you to bring me some changes of clothes. Huh? You're the idiot who got into an accident due to carelessness, aren't you? Why do I, tired from work, have to go out of my way to do something like that? The accident wasn't my fault. It was the other person's carelessness. And yet you're calling me an idiot. Why can't you say it any other way? You're so annoying. Figure it out yourself. I'm definitely not going, and I won't reply for a while either. Saying that, he hung up the phone one-sidedly. The sound of the disconnected call echoed, further cornering my weakened heart. Tears naturally started to flow due to the situation. Why can't he talk to me in any other way? Shouldn't he normally be worried? If he was the Michael from the past, he would have prioritized me over anything else. If I could bring the change of clothes myself, I wouldn't have asked him in the first place. I can't rely on my parents who live far away. Although I tried to contact Michael several times afterwards, in the end, he never brought me my belongings. With no other choice, I gathered the necessary items from the hospital store. It's been 3 days since I received any response from my husband. Although he did say he wouldn't reply for a while, my concerns are gradually building up. It's becoming worrisome he hasn't contacted me for so long. He might have gotten into an accident himself. My head was filled with anxiety. I heard a knock on the door of the hospital room while I was mulling over these things. When I responded, the person who came in was my colleague, Lucy, who I normally get along with. Did you come to visit me? Thank you so much. I was surprised. When I got word about you not coming to work for a while, I heard you had an accident. But it's not a big deal. It's just bruises and a fracture. That's a big deal, but I'm a bit relieved to see you look okay. After that, we spent the time with the usual light-hearted chatter. The visiting hours passed quickly and Lucy began preparing to leave. Suddenly, she stopped with a troubled expression on her face, as she seemed to want to say something. I nervously asked her, "What's wrong all of a sudden?" I don't think it's a good time to say this, but, Catherine, I saw it. What did you see? You see, I saw your husband, Catherine, walking with Lisa. What? When did you see them? About 3 days ago, I guess. Lisa is a junior colleague at the same company where we work. I was in charge of training her when she joined the company. We're still friendly, to the extent that we go to lunch once a week. But why Lisa and Michael together? I believe the last time Lisa and my husband met was at our wedding. Could something have happened then? No, not them. Even though I thought it impossible, the worst scenario came to mind. Lucy said she saw Michael with a suitcase and Lisa 3 days ago, and apparently Lisa started her paid leave from that day. Even while hoping it was a lie, I nervously called my husband's company. Then I was told that my husband also took paid leave 3 days ago, brilliantly confirming my worst suspicions. At this moment, my doubts turned into certainty. My beloved husband and my adorable junior colleague, both people I trusted, betrayed me at the same time. My husband must have been using overtime and working on holidays as an excuse to meet her. Perhaps they've had a relationship for longer than I thought. The more I reflected on the discomfort I had felt towards my husband, the more things started to make sense. I finally understood why he began to act cold towards me. It was surprisingly easy to convince myself. And then, without thinking, I called my husband. I had hardly been contacting him in the past few days because I assumed he wouldn't reply anyway. I thought he probably wouldn't answer even if I called a few times. But I couldn't just let things be. So I kept calling him over and over until he answered. And 30 minutes later, finally he answered, sounding annoyed. I told you I wouldn't respond for a while. Why are you persistently calling me? Why? Do you have something so important that you can't answer a call from your wife? Every day, I'm working my ass off, you know. What kind of work is that exactly? You're on paid leave until tomorrow, aren't you? He probably thought I would never find out. My husband stammered at my question, still thinking he could deceive me. My husband quickly started making excuses. I'm not on leave. What are you talking about? I've already checked with your office, so there's no point in playing dumb. Well, actually, I've been relaxing at home for the past few days. I was just tired from all the work lately. Oh, really? But then, could you explain why you were seen with a suitcase and hanging out with Lisa? Stop making excuses. I already know everything. I, who was not typically aggressive, raised my voice and said so. Realizing he could no longer hide, my husband finally showed his true colors. If you already knew, then fine. I'm on a trip with Lisa, so don't bother me, you ugly hag. I knew it, but why Lisa? She's younger and cuter than you. Isn't that obvious? You mean just for that? Now that you know, isn't that enough? Don't worry, I'll divorce you when I get back. I'm enjoying my trip now, so don't bother me. And with a see ya, he one-sidedly hung up the phone. Immediately after that, the feelings I had for my husband instantly turned into hatred. I could never forgive this kind of treatment. I won't let them have their way. I will definitely send those two to hell. This is how I decided to take revenge. However, divine punishment would befall them even before I could take action. Once I was somewhat moved, I was scheduled to be discharged the next day. To take revenge on my husband and Lisa, I tried to search for a law firm on my smartphone. The phone rang at the very moment. Surprisingly, the caller was Lisa, my husband's mistress. I was shocked, but I couldn't run away now. I steeled myself and pressed the call button. Hello? I'm sorry, Catherine. I'm really sorry. Why would you call? Wouldn't it be normal to apologize directly? You are absolutely right, but now is not the time for that. What happened? Lisa's voice sounded shaky. Then Lisa uttered words I couldn't believe. Catherine, your husband has passed away in an accident. What? I was too shocked to speak. In my confusion, I asked Lisa, What are you talking about? Passed away? But isn't Michael in the middle of the romantic getaway with you right now? Yes, but on our way home, Michael was involved in an accident. What I learned from Lisa's story was that they had been involved in a car accident on their way home from the airport, and that Michael had been hit by a car. And though an ambulance was immediately called, he didn't move at all. What surprised me even more was that Michael was transferred to the hospital where I was hospitalized. After hanging up the phone, I explained the situation to a nurse and quickly headed to where my husband was. My fracture was not yet healed, so I walked with the aid of crutches. Although I had heard from Lisa that Michael is dead, I thought I would be guided to the morgue. Surprisingly, Michael seemed to be still alive. That being said, his condition is still serious. Lisa arrived, panting, just after I arrived. Knowing that Michael was still alive, Lisa collapsed on the spot. There are many things I want to say, but unfortunately, Michael is in serious condition. That day, we each went home, deciding to have a discussion with Lisa at a later date. A few days later, Michael barely survived, but was forced to live in a wheelchair due to paraplegia. Michael's parents, who rushed to the scene, were furious when they learned about the fair trip. Despite probably having feelings about their son's accident, my in-laws scolded my husband, saying, "It's your own fault for having an affair." After my in-laws left, we decided to have a discussion with my husband and Lisa. What I saw when I arrived at my husband's hospital room was my husband and Lisa arguing intensely. "It's all your fault. This happened because you pushed me that time." Don't blame others. It was you who suggested we take that road. This all happened because you started saying you want to go on a trip. Damn you, woman. You injured a man who you love, so you're going to pay for both the trip and the medical expenses. This was just a game for me. Who would be serious about a man like you? I don't even want to see your face again. What? Don't mess with me. Unaware of my presence, the two continued their unbearable argument. I can't stand it anymore. Taking a deep breath, I opened the hospital room door forcefully and yelled at them. Enough is enough. Take your blame game elsewhere. After all, this happened because of your affair in the first place. Catherine. Catherine, Mom? Their faces stiffened as they finally became aware of my presence. Regardless of their reactions, I continued. Do you two even understand the situation you are in? You were able to argue so calmly. To my question, Michael immediately answered, Don't worry, I'm going to break up with this stupid woman soon. Oh, and then... So I realized that you were the only one for me, Catherine. After all this time, what are you saying? Weren't we supposed to get a divorce? Huh? Looking at my husband's dumbfounded face, I can't help but burst out laughing. Why should I have to live with a jerk like you? You're the one who said we're getting a divorce when we get home, right? Just because you had a fight with your girlfriend doesn't mean you can't just say, let's stay married. That's ridiculous. Why? You love me. After going on about getting a divorce, when things get tough you want to reconcile? Get real. You were the one who betrayed me first, you jerk. I'm not some convenient woman like you think. Never showed up in front of me again. My yelling seemed to have left my husband in a state of shock. Lisa, who had been pale next to him, was shaken and frozen in place. A few days later, after being discharged from the hospital, I decided to go back to my parents' home for a while. And then, through a lawyer, the divorce with Michael was finalized. As for the alimony, I made him and Lisa paid it in full. After all this, Michael lost his job. Apparently, he had been embezzling company money for his affair. His paralysis from the waist down due to the accident seemed to have made the decision to fire him easy. Now, the only thing left for him is a claim for damages for the company. With his physical condition, finding a new job will probably be difficult. Rumors about Lisa's affair with my husband seemed to spread quickly throughout the company. Lisa, who started to be looked at with disdain, began to take unauthorized absences as she couldn't bear it. In the end, it seems she voluntarily submitted her resignation. I doubt those two will be able to live a normal life from here on. But that's not to say I can sympathize. It's a disaster they brought on themselves. As for me, I rented an apartment near my company and started a new life. To be honest, I haven't quite sorted out my feelings yet. And I feel a bit weird when colleagues approach me out of concern or curiosity. But I'm sure such petty rumors will die down soon. From now on, I want to enjoy my own life without being swayed by others.